There was a betrayal that you could fully see coming. Things are getting really mysterious. Well, we did get a bit of a love confession and we did get a little bit of action. And I'm like actually unable to really predict about where this is going. Hi all, it's me, Allison. Welcome back to my channel. I am in such a fantasy mood recently. Like the moment we hit August 1st, I am like, hey, I need to read anything magical, spooky, enchanting, something. Like I am like such in the mood for high stakes, fun fantasy with like intense world building. I have found that since Book Talk, I feel like fantasy has become a really popular genre that honestly feels overwhelming just how many great fantasy books have come out in the past couple of years, and I have yet to read all of them. One in particular that I have been very interested in, solely because the cover art is literally so intriguing, is The Knight and the Moth by Rachel Gellig. I'm pretty sure this is the same author that writes the One Open Window series, which is also another fantasy series that I am like dying to read as well. But since this is only one book, I felt like it would be a good way to like get myself back into that fantasy space. But here's the thing, like I have no idea what this is about. I genuinely saw this cover, said want to read, downloaded it on my Kindle and decided that, hey, I'm gonna read this book. I don't know what it's about. I haven't read the description. I haven't seen any fan art, anything on TikTok that I see. I swipe past it really quick because I really want to go into this book completely blind. So I figured that this week's reading vlog will be me giving real-time reactions and opinions on Knight and the Moth without any prior knowledge beforehand. So I thought it would be fun just a little bit to kind of give like what I think this book is going to be about just based off this cover. We've got a girl and her outfit is split in half. We've got a knight outfit and like a little girl outfit. So I'm like, She's also blind. Her hair is like covering her eyes. Just like a general census, I feel like this book is going to be like a girl. Maybe she's got some magical powers. Maybe perhaps the magical powers come when she doesn't see. And honestly, this hair covering her eyes could just be aesthetics. Like it probably could be nothing, but who's to freaking say? Maybe she's kind of wanting to become a knight, perhaps. I'm going to say that maybe she is the moth as well as the knight, but there also is another knight that she becomes involved with. I think that's going to be my prediction so far. Maybe she is a magical person who is trying to become a knight in this kingdom. That could be completely wrong. Who's to say? We'll find out this week. It actually couldn't have been a better time for me to start this book. It is about to storm. It's gloomy outside. I have some like sweet ambient lighting going on. I feel like this is really setting the tone to dive into a fun little fantasy book. So I think I'm going to put on a little like castle core on the TV to give me a little ambiance background situation, and I'm going to dive in. Okay, I'm not 100% certain, but I think that this girl's name is Bartholomew. Bartholomew. First of all, I've never been able to say that name to save my life, but the fact that there is a girl named Bartholomew is a little like, what are we doing here? Hopefully she has a cute little nickname because I'm really, really hating that. I really am. All right, guys, it was a false alarm. The talking gargoyles in this book call everyone Bartholomew. Perfect. I was getting a little scared. I was like, there is no way that this girl's name is Bartholomew, but like, who is to say it's a fantasy book? Like, anything goes. Okay, but thank goodness. Okay, we're saved. Okay, we're back in it. Let's go. I think that I may have underestimated my willpower going into this video, because the moment I get a spark of interest, like my impulse is to look up every single piece of artwork imaginable on Pinterest concerning this book, which sometimes does lead to spoilers, but also like I just have to know how people are imagining these characters. And I'm I'm 10% in and I'm already like, oh my gosh, I'm itching to get on Pinterest right now to see how people are imagining the way that this girl looks. I think that my initial guess about what this book is going to be about is going to be completely wrong. And that just goes to show, like, never judge a book by its cover, as they say. So far, 10% in, we have, from what I'm understanding, there are 6 girls who go by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's their name. Or that's at least what they go by. And they are called diviners. And basically, they kind of live in like a cathedral type place. And the cathedral is built on this magical spring in which these 6 women can go into the water and basically see into the future type situation, but not like a That's a Raven type of seeing in the future, like not seeing anything crystal clear, more like omens. We start out and we have a new king. He's a young boy, and he came to see if the omens favored him going into his new reign. So 6, who is I'm assuming our main character, it did just say that her name used to be Sybil, but she goes by 6, and she has to be the one to go into a dreamlike state to see if the omens favor this king. In order to do that, she has to drown herself in this magical spring in order for her to like go into this trance-like state. Anyway, so basically she's kind of like telling the future, kind of giving like a prophecy type situation, but nothing super specific, if that makes sense, which I'm really intrigued. Also, she kind of had a real run-in with one of the knights. It seems as if he may not believe in this faith that they're practicing, and he's also really snarky, which clearly that's going to be our love interest love. So that is my update so far.
Okay, so the thing is, I really did try my hardest not to look up any fan art on Pinterest. Unfortunately, I just got to a part in which we were very descriptively describing this knight, aka the love interest, aka his name is Rory, I've come to find out. So I had to look up to see what he is looking like in my mind's eye. And I'm going to be honest, the artwork that I found, I wasn't impressed. But I did find one in particular that made my jaw drop. All of the knights in this book are described having like charcoal lined eyes. And I was thinking like, oh, like eyeliner. But the way that this fan art was giving like full over the, I don't know what it is, very alluring. Very alluring. So now I'm going to be imagining that moving forward. So I'm not that far from where I was last night. I'm only at 25%, but a lot has happened since the last time I updated you guys. Well, for one, all of the diviners, aka 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, kind of did a rebellious stunt and decided to go out into the world outside of their cathedral, even though that is technically not allowed. Some things happened. Rory, our darling knight, lost a bet with 6, and he went into the cathedral to get his omens read via 6 drowning in the magical water. And 6 discovered something that she had never experienced before while in this dreamlike state, and she cannot figure out what it can mean. And when she woke up, Rory was gone, and she kind of has this suspicion that maybe he has some idea of what's going on. So this is very interesting. So right now I'm a little suspicious of the abyss. I think that's how you say it. She is basically like the head of this cathedral. She's the one that casts and helps these diviners go under into that dreamlike state. And I just like kind of have a feeling that these promises she's making to these girls are not going to be fulfilled, some sort of a conspiracy. And I also have a feeling that maybe this faith that they have been practicing for so long is not exactly what they think it is, and maybe potentially could be a fraud. The gargoyle who calls everyone Bartholomew is the best character in this book so far. He is so sassy, such a diva, so funny. And you can tell that he might be the only ally that our Sybil has at the moment. So I'm excited to see a little bit more about where this goes.
Things are getting really mysterious. All of the girls but 6 have mysteriously disappeared from the cathedral, and no one knows what's happening to them, which is a little weird because they all sleep in the same bed/room at this cathedral. So the fact that they keep disappearing and none of the other girls are realizing what's happening says a lot. But now Rory has re-entered the chat. He has decided to take 6 with him and try and figure out what's happening to the rest of the girls. And he also has a little bit of magic that is a little bit unexplainable at this time. The source of this magic that he's using is a coin. So I kind of have a feeling that maybe he's more than just a knight. Maybe he's one of these like omens that are basically like the gods of this world. I'm thinking that maybe he might be an omen. This is obviously a prediction, not a spoiler, just me thinking out loud here. But I have to say, I am really intrigued by this world building. I feel like I've never really read anything like this before. I'm like actually unable to really predict about where this is going. I feel like going in blind to this was such a good idea just because I have genuinely no reference on where this story is going, and it's really exciting to like see it play out. But I'm going to read a little bit more tonight. Hopefully I can get around 40 to 50%, but I'll update you guys in a little while. This has absolutely nothing to do with the Knight and the Moth, but I just wanted to come on here and say that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged. The news dropped and I was screaming around my office, telling everyone who would listen to the words coming out of my mouth. I mean, I feel like I just got engaged. Like, I am so excited for them. From the beginning of the relationship, I've always been like, I hope that they get married. Like, I hope that this is it for her. I hope that he is the one. And he is! They're getting married! In book news, I have read about to 60% of this book. And let me tell you something right now. Everything up until 50% was literally just a lead up. We are finally getting into like the plot of this book. And it is very, very intriguing. Very intriguing. I'm trying to keep this as spoiler free as possible, so I don't want to say too much. Some predictions I had were right, some predictions I had were wrong, but let's just say that this girl is really doing the most trying to get her friends back, aka 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Also, kind of on the romance front, from the beginning, Mr. Rory here has been very, very particular about who can touch 6 and who is allowed to be around her. And multiple times where she has been injured due to fighting and whatnot, he has gone out of his way to make amends for the person who did the damage to her. I do love a defensive honor. I really do. And the thing is about her, even though she was raised as this divine type entity, she actually has a lot of bravery and strength that you don't really expect, I guess, from her character because she's never left the cathedral. She was an orphan. She's been sick before she even got to the cathedral. Everything in her life has set her up to be weak and complacent, but that is just not the case with her. She is very much her own person, makes her own decisions, and she fights for justice, which I really appreciate. Now we're getting to the point where Rory and Six have had multiple conversations, basically dancing around that they do find each other very interesting and do find each other very attractive. Let's hope that in the coming chapters, something will happen of note. But for now, I'm going to keep reading because things are getting really interesting.
Well, we did get a bit of a love confession and we did get a little bit of action as far as Sybil and Rory go. I just want to say that even though it took them until like 70-ish% to finally like do something about their romance, it didn't really feel like a slow burn. I feel like it was the perfect amount of burn. Right now, I'm feeling a little bit like this is going to be maybe a 4-star. I'm not really feeling 5-star vibes at the moment. Maybe the ending will change my mind. But there has been a couple of things that have been kind of like bothering me as far as this book goes. Not anything super crazy, just like something that I'm just like, I don't know about this for this to be like a fantasy book. I feel like some of the language that these characters are using are very modern. There are just a few things and phrases that are being used that just don't feel like they belong in a fantasy book. Not that it's taking me out of it by any means. I just feel like it doesn't feel like it fits the vibe of the entire story. Also, as much as I do love the romance between Rory and Sybil, I feel like there's nothing really special about them. I hate to say that because I do like them together and I do appreciate how much he is willing to sacrifice for her and how much he truly does seem to care about her, the person, and not her as the diviner. So I do appreciate that aspect of it, but I just feel like his feelings kind of came out of, not necessarily out of nowhere. It just felt like the buildup was very meek. There wasn't enough tension for me to like really find this romance super gripping, but I do like the plot. So I am interested to see how this is going to end. I probably will finish it tonight. I mean, this book has been pretty easy, a breeze to get through, which is not usually the case with fantasy books. So I'm glad that this one hasn't been like tough on the brain, if you will. I'm glad that this one has been entertaining. I'm just like not getting the super explosive butterflies in my stomach that I would usually get with a romantasy, but it's still good. Well, guys, I finished The Night in the Moth last night, and unfortunately, like by the end of it, I did end up feeling like it was a 3.5 stars. Like it wasn't a 3 because I really did enjoy reading it, and I would recommend it to someone, but this whole book, we were leading up to this one event, and we did not get to said event until 96% of the book, and it just felt very rushed and very anticlimactic as far as it being the main driving force for Sybil in this entire book. Also, there was a betrayal that you could fully see coming. Like there was no way if you read that book, you did not know that this betrayal was going to happen. But the way that the betrayal kind of played out was also a little anticlimactic. I just felt like we needed maybe another 50 pages in order for, or maybe even an epilogue. Like it just kind of ended very abruptly, which I guess is the point of having a big cliffhanger. Like you want people to be like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? I totally get that. But for me, it made the book feel flat. And like, I liked the book, I liked the characters, I liked the romance. There was nothing necessarily wrong with it. It just didn't play out the way I was thinking it was going to play out. Also, I just felt like the romance between Rory and Sybil, while it was very sweet, it just like
had this kind of intensity that I didn't feel was realistic with the way that their relationship played out. It just felt like very intense, but it's like you don't really know each other. I kind of wish that there would have been more tension and angst between those two, but once again, I enjoyed the romance. And there were some one-liners from Rory that really got my heart fluttering. But overall, I wouldn't rave about this book. But hey, also, this is clearly going to be a series. Obviously, there's going to be a book 2. So maybe this is one of those moments where it's like book 1 is like a little like meh, and then the rest of the series is like a 5-star. Like, who's to say? I am interested enough to keep going. I am interested enough to read book 2. I will say though, I really enjoyed filming this vlog. I had so much fun like going into a book without having any expectations. I feel like sometimes, especially with books that are like super hyped, it's hard to go into a book that you know everyone's obsessed with and you know like certain things out of context, and it kind of like ruins the reading experience sometimes. Nonetheless, I'm glad that I went into this completely blind. It really helped me enjoy and really like pay attention to more details. But all this to say, thank you guys so much for watching. I would highly recommend that you guys also pick up a book completely blind and see where the night takes you. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe if you don't mind. I'll have all my social media links down below. I have Instagram, I have TikTok, I have Goodreads, so be sure to follow those links down below. But for now, bye guys!